Okay, we're going to continue with factoring when a equals 1, okay, when a equals 1. But this time I want you to notice we've got a negative in the front of our x squared. So anytime you have a negative, so this is no longer a 1, but a negative 1. The first thing you're going to do is take out that negative. So I like to call it, this is not a word, but this is what I like to call it. You're going to undistribute that negative. So you're taking a negative out of this whole thing. So if I take a negative out, it's going to change the sign of everything in here. So that's going to be a positive x squared, a negative 13x now, and a positive 12, okay? Now, once you take that negative out, you're still going to have to keep it when you do your next piece, okay? But now we can factor this like we've been factoring previously using the box method. So we're going to write our x squared in this box, which means we're going to have x and x. And then this box over here is going to have this plus 12. Okay, so we've got x squared and the plus 12. Now what I've got to figure out is what numbers go here and here in order to make this right here come to this negative 13. Now, if this number is positive and this one's negative, that means that both of these numbers here have to be negative, which means this is going to be negative and this is going to be negative, because when I add them together, it gives me a negative. All right, so I'm getting 12. So let's start at 1. 1 and 12. That multiplies to give me 12, and when I add it, it also gives me 13. So that one works. So this is going to be 1 and 12. All right, this is going to be negative 1x. This is going to be negative 12x. When you put those two things together, you get your negative 13x. All right, so one of these is x minus 12. The other one is x minus 1. So x minus 12, x minus 1. All right, let's look at 5. Again, it's got that negative in front of it. So we're going to take that negative right here. We're going to pull it out, and that changes the sign of all these. So that's going to be positive x squared, negative 14x, and negative 32. Okay, now we can do our box method, but remember, you're going to pull that negative down and keep it when you write your next line. Okay, so let's do our box here. And I did not make that big enough. All right, so we've got to get x squared there. That's our x squared. And then we've got to get negative 32 down here. All right, you know this is x and x, because x times x gives you x squared. Now this time, this is negative, which means that one of these is positive and the other is negative. So we got to figure that one out. All right, so if I do 1, that means if I do 1 and 32, that means I'm going to be subtracting whatever these numbers are. And when I subtract them, I need to get 14. So if I do 1 times 32 to get 32, 32 minus 1 is 31. That's not 14, so that doesn't work. Okay, let's go to 2. 2 goes into 32 16 times. 2 times 16 is 32. And 16 minus 2, that does give me that 14 that I need. Now, here's where you have to be careful where to put your signs. So your bigger number needs to be negative. So that means my negative needs to be the 16, and the positive needs to be the 2. Check yourself. Plus 2x, because x times 2 is 2x. And then negative 16 times x, that's a negative 16x. If you put these two things together, negative 16 plus 2, that gives you back this negative 14. So here's my parentheses, these two things. X minus 16 times x plus 2. All right, let's look at number 6. Now, number 6 is a binomial. It's only 2 pieces. So when you're given a problem to factor and you only have 2 pieces, one of the first things you should ask yourself, is there anything these 2 things have in common that I can pull out? Well, hopefully you can see that they both have an n. So we could take out an n. And 6 and 9 both are divisible by 3. So that means I can take out a 3n. Okay, this is that undistribute again. So what do you multiply 3 by to get 6? Well, that's 2. What do you multiply n by to get n squared? That's n. and then we're going to have our plus sign. What do you multiply 3 by to get 9? That's 3. And what do you multiply n by to get n? That's just 1. N times 1 is n, so I don't have to put the 1. So I can close my parentheses, and I'm done with that problem at this point. There's nothing else I can do to it. All right, last one. 4x squared plus 20x minus 56. Is there anything, this is not a 1. So since this is not a 1, I need to figure out a way to get it down to 1. So hopefully 4 is going to go into all of these. I know that 4 goes into 4 once. I know 4 goes into 25 times. Does 4 go into 56? Well, let's just take a calculator and check. 56 divided by 4. Oops. Yes, it goes 14 times. So I can take a 4 out, which makes that go down to x squared, because 4 times 1 gives me 4. So that's x squared. Plus 20 divided by 4, that's going to be 5x. And then I just did 56 divided by 4 and got 14. Now again, just like you kept this negative up here, you're going to keep the 4. Okay? But now I'm going to do my box. And I'm going to come up with this one. All right, so x squared goes here, and negative 14 goes here. Okay, I know this is x and this is x because x times x gives me x squared. All right, now I've got to do negative 14, and it has to be a positive 5. So that means that one of these is positive and one of these is negative. So I've got a positive and a negative. All right, now let's start with 1. That means I'm going to put 1 times 14. But since one is positive and one is negative, that means I have to subtract to get that middle number. 14 minus 1, that's 13. That doesn't give me 5, so that doesn't work. All right, let's go to 2. Does 2 go into 14? Yes, it does. 7 times. 7 minus 2, that gives me 5. Okay, that one works. But I need it to be a positive 5. So I have to put the higher number on the positive. So this is going to be plus 7, and this is going to be minus 2. Now you can check yourself. Plus 7x minus 2x. That gives me 5x in the middle. So my two parentheses are x minus 2 times x plus 7. All right, guys. As always, if you have questions, let me know.